Hello, this video is about district council funding. The Local Government Act of 1998 identifies the three sources of revenue for councils: locally generated revenues, central government transfers, and donor or development partner funds. Locally generated revenues are funds that councils mobilize from sources within areas under their jurisdiction. These revenues include property rates, ground rent, fees and licenses, service charges, and commercial activities. Property rates. Property rates are taxes on assessed values of land and properties. They are paid by individuals, organizations, companies, or government institutions who own land or buildings within rateable council areas. These are billed twice a year or as frequently as needed by local authorities, form the largest portion of revenue in urban council budgets. District councils that do not have rateable urban councils cannot collect taxes, so they largely depend on market fees for locally generated revenue. Ground rent. Ground rent is paid by individuals, organizations, or companies for lease or use of land owned by the council. Fees and licenses. These are collected from traders or business owners that run services or trade in markets within the councils. The fee amounts vary with the type of services and goods traded. License payments are collected from entrepreneurs, allowing them to do business when they meet set minimum conditions. Councils reserve the right to issue or withdraw these licenses based on delivery standards. Service charges. Service charges are fees collected by councils for rendering services to individuals, organizations, or companies. These may include services like fumigation, decoration, emptying of sludge, etc. Commercial activities. Some councils also run their own commercial activities. Revenue collected from these businesses are used to meet council obligations. Central government transfers. Central government is obligated to provide resources for local government functions. In Malawi, the current recommendation is up to 5% of the national revenue, excluding grants, should be made available to the districts. These go to the recurrent part of the budget either as unconditional or as conditional grants. The funds are routed through an Intergovernment Fiscal Transfer System, IGFTS. It uses demographic and development indicators to determine how much each district is allocated. The central government also provides funding for all seconded staff in the councils. Conditional grants, sector funds. Conditional grants are funds earmarked only for activities in a specific sector program. The reason for paying out sectoral funds this way is to make sure funds are used how and where they were intended. Their use cannot be changed by councils. Examples include sector grants for implementing development functions like drug procurement. Unconditional grants. The General Resource Fund is the unconditional grant that central government transfers to local governments. They are paid out monthly, and the council has full discretion in the allocation of these funds in its budget. Government, however, expects local governments to use a minimum of 25% of the GRF for service delivery. Seeded revenue. Seeded revenues are non-tax revenues designed for collection by government agencies on behalf of the central government. They are then redistributed to local governments using a formula. However, as a country, Malawi is yet to implement it. The decentralization policy lists these seeded revenues: toll fees, gambling and casino fees, fuel levy, vehicle registration fees, and industrial registration fees. Local Development Fund. The Local Development Fund is nationwide and was established to support decentralization and achieve sustainable local development. The fund provides resources for local authorities through an indicative planning framework. This is for them to align their projects with their local development plans. The LDF is assessed through 4 financing windows, namely Community Window, Local Authority Window, the Urban Window, and the Performance Window. Community Window. The Community Window finances demand-driven community investments and services. Under this window, communities plan, implement, monitor, and sustain their own development projects. Local Authority Window. The Local Authority Window finances projects that cut across more than one community or traditional authority. They are identified by the Council from an annual investment plan. Beneficiaries from an annual investment plan will be involved in discussions for location, operations, and asset management. Some members of poor households are engaged so they earn wages working on investment projects that benefit their communities. Urban Window. The aim is developing and improving economic services through infrastructure provision in urban centers. Such projects support potential economic growth points and improve the capacity of local authorities for revenue generation and of services provision. Projects are labor-intensive and require large capital outlay. Performance Window is used to reward successes and address problems. The funds may be managed using the LAW, UW, or CW. This would be the council decision that earns a bonus. Loans and overdrafts from within Malawi. The Local Government Act allows councils access to overdrafts and loans from local financial institutions. Overdrafts may be used for short-term regular needs, while loans are for long-term investments. Overdrafts only need council approval to obtain. However, long-term loans must be approved by the Minister of Finance in line with the Public Finance Management Act. Funds from development partners. Local government also receives funds from development partners or donors. Usually, the funding is aligned with their interests, but it's recommended that funding should address people's needs and priorities outlined in local development plans. Transparency and accountability in the councils. Since councils are public entities, all funds they collect are public resources. For this reason, councils are expected to be transparent and efficient in financial management practices. Expectations also include accountability in service provision, matched with value for money spent, as well as compliance to accounting and auditing standards. Along with this, citizens have a right to know how resources are used. Therefore, they have a duty to demand that councils provide adequate services or improve the quality of service. This helps ensure councils' accountability and enhance community participation in a decentralized government system. We hope you have found this video helpful. For more information, reach out to the Ministry of Local Government in Malawi. Other videos in this series can be found at www.integrationpoint.mw. Thank you.